Okay, thanks, Siri. Okay, so yeah, thank you and welcome to the NCEA Information Night. What we'd really love to be able to do is share a little bit about the program, because a lot of people don't know what NCEA is. They may not have brothers or even sisters who have gone through NCEA. So we're going to try and fill in a few gaps. There's a little video clip that we'll end up watching as well. So we're really proud of what we can offer at Johnny's. We pretty much call it, there's so much choice. We've got 4 different pathways that students can follow once they hit year 12 and 13, whether it's NCEA, agribusiness, IB, or the Gateway program as well. So within each of those programs, those pathways, we've got a variety of options available to students to choose. Some of the things that these boys will hear about tomorrow are these things along here, especially as they're starting to think about their subject choices for next year. They need to really work within their strengths. And so to think about your strengths and also to play within those. Also keeping mindful of what the future may bring, whether it's a career, whether it's job opportunities. We're trying to get all boys in year 11, 12, and 11 to start thinking about what is their pathway forward at the college, and making sure that they have the widest, broadest opportunities in year 11 so that all of those pathways are still available at the end. We're hearing from universities, and universities are saying that they like students who have studied the hardest high school qualification they've got available to them. So whether it's NCEA with excellence or NCEA with a little bit of scholarship involved in it, or agribusiness or the IB, you're just pushing the envelope. You're pushing to make yourself as competitive as possible, because when you're compared with other students coming into university, they're going to have NCEA level 3 or level 2, or how many credits, or at what level of those credits. And I guess that's what I'm going to be trying to do, is help you understand what it is to be excellence endorsed or merit endorsed and so on. Finding balance is also the key thing, making sure that you're doing something creative, something that you enjoy, something that's going to challenge your skills, challenge your thinking, but be creative in that. And your teachers are the best resources possible. They're the people that are going to get alongside you to help you understand what the pathways are in front of you. And part of the day tomorrow is talking to teachers and finding out what their course is. And again, keep looking to the future and keeping the big picture again as well, thinking about who you are and who you want to be, not necessarily what you want to do. So I've kind of alluded to a number of the different pathways that we have at the college. In years 7 through 10, we've been doing a lot of different choices. We're doing languages, we're doing technology, we're learning math and English and so on. And it's in NCEA level 1 that we really start toning it, refining what we're interested in doing. And then after that, we've got NCEA level 2 and 3, excuse me, and the 4 options that are available. Gateway, which is a vocational pathway, ideally that's suited to boys who are really interested in getting a trade, building, plumbing, mechanical, anything on that sorts of thing, and they can get out there and get some work experience and then potentially get a job at the end of that year 12, or if they choose to do it in year 13, then they're also looking for the trades at the end. NCEA is what over 60%, 60 to 70% of our students choose, is just a pure NCEA course. It's our national qualification, and we're really proud of what it is and the outcomes of this. We're one of the only schools in the country that can carry the badge, which is the Centre of Excellence for Agricultural Studies and Science and Business. And that's the agribusiness program that you'll hear about tomorrow night with Dr. Preston. This is for the year 12s and 13s. It's Dr. Preston would talk about everything past the farm gate. You may not know much about what happens on the farm, but certainly you might know some of the products that come off it and how they're adding value and how they're constantly innovating that industry. And it's the lifeblood of what we do here in New Zealand. The last program is the IBDP, which stands for the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. one of 13 schools in the country, the only boys-only school in the South Island that offers it. The only other South Island school is St. Margaret's, which is a girls' school in Christchurch. It's an international qualification and possibly the hardest and highest qualification yet you can get from a high school. And we've been doing the program for 21 plus years now, and we've had hundreds of students graduate through the program, going to a variety of universities. Over 80% of our boys end up choosing a New Zealand university. So it's not as if you have to go overseas with this qualification, but it certainly opens a lot of doors. And on Thursday night is when I'm sharing a little bit about the IBDP to year 12 and 13 students, which any of you guys are welcome to attend as well. So what I'd like to do is show a 6-minute clip on what NCEA is. It really does get down to the nitty-gritty and fill in a few details. I'll be able to explain a few more things afterwards, but sit back and enjoy. Make sure your tray tables are folded upwards and your seat is in the upright position, and we'll get going.
Kia ora, hello. This film is designed to help you understand NCEA, the main qualification for secondary school kids in New Zealand. NCEA stands for the National Certificate of Educational Achievement, and it comes in 3 levels, cleverly named 1, 2, and 3. The key ingredients in NCEA are things called standards and credits. One leads to the other. With NCEA, there are still important national exams at the end of the year. We sometimes call it external assessment, but you can also be tested or assessed throughout the year. That's called internal assessment because it happens in school. It may sound like a lot more work, but let's face it, there are some things you can't test in a sit-down exam. Why write about delivering your mihi in te reo Māori when you could do it for real? Why just write about a science experiment when you could do the experiment in the lab and see the real results? With NCEA, subjects are divided up into all the things you need to know. They're called standards. Each standard is worth credits, and credits count towards the final qualification. It means that instead of doing a 3-hour exam on the whole subject of English, you could be assessed in separate standards about writing a business letter, analysing a text, making a film, and giving speech. Some of these will be tested in an exam at the end of the year, and some will be assessed during the year. To get NCEA, you need to get enough credits, 80 at each level. At levels 2 and 3, 20 of the 80 credits can be from any level. You also need to achieve a minimum number of literacy credits, writing, speaking, and listening skills, and numeracy credits, number, measurement, and statistical skills. But these can be gained in a large number of different subjects. You can build up credits during the year, or even over more than 1 year. And once you've got credits, they last forever. And you can keep track of how many credits you're stacking up as you go along. When you get your results, you'll know how many credits you've got, but your results tell you a lot more than just NCEA Level 1 passed. When you log in to view your results for each standard, a letter will appear next to each one, N-A-M-E. They stand for Not Achieved, Achieved, Merit, and Excellence. You can probably guess what Not Achieved means. Achieved, Merit, and Excellence tell you how well you did in reaching the standard. One thing to remember is that these days, E is for excellence. It might pay to let your parents know that when they were at school, if you got an E, it was bad news. You won't get any more credits for getting merits and excellences, but there are good reasons for aiming high. If you get enough credits with merits or excellences, 50 to be exact, you'll get merit or excellence included in your NCEA qualification. It's called certificate endorsement, and everyone will know how well you've done. That will tell people you mean business. It's a good reason to keep aiming for merits and excellences even after you've reached 80 credits. Merits and excellences can also be useful if you're doing well in particular courses or subjects. Course endorsement tells people you're especially good at a particular subject or course. If you get 14 credits with excellence in a particular course, say maths or music, you will have that course endorsed with excellence. Anyone who reads your results will see you've done particularly well at maths or music, or even both. That will come in handy when you're showing results to people after you've left school, for work, or going somewhere else to study. Vocational pathways are another way you can show what you've learnt. They also suggest the types of study options and job opportunities that you may be interested in looking into. You get a Vocational Pathways Award when you've completed one of the 6 industry pathways. You can get more than one Vocational Pathway Award. Neat, eh? You can use Vocational Pathways to show how your achievement relates to the learning or skills employers are looking for. Your time at secondary school is a bit like a journey. It might start off feeling like you're in a foreign land, but you soon start becoming more familiar with the territory, and you'll want to explore new places and ideas. Just like any journey, it helps to have an idea of where you want to go and a map so you can plan how to get there. You want to know the subjects you're studying are taking you in the right direction. Getting as many credits as you can is great, but it's important to think about what subjects you're getting credits in. If you're aiming for a job or university course, you need to get credits in the standards that will be useful to employers or that the university will expect to see in your results. Make sure you're on the right path. And remember, just because you've got university entrance doesn't mean you can just turn up for any university course you like. These days, universities want to see lots of E's in your results. Another good reason for aiming high. So, a couple of important things to remember. Make sure the standards you're studying are going to give you the results you need so you can do what you want to do when you leave school. Because NCEA is recognised internationally, it means you can study at an overseas university. And make sure you're getting your best possible results, as many excellences and merits as possible. If you've got questions, talk to the experts, ask your teachers, go to the NZQA website, www.nzqa.govt.nz, or phone NZQA on 0800 697 296.
Oh. No, we don't want to watch that again. Okay, so yeah, you would have noticed a few things that I shared earlier about thinking about your pathway, thinking about your future, making sure you're as competitive as possible. And again, some of those things were mentioned in that video as well. So it kind of gets to this point where we start thinking about, well, what am I going to choose next year? What are the subjects that are actually available to me? So we do have compulsory subjects. We do expect all boys to do English, mathematics. But I've put a little asterisk beside the science because some students see that agriculture as a pathway, which is a science, as an alternative. So most students will be choosing English, maths, and science, the general science that we're offering, but also they may choose English, mathematics, agriculture, and then 3 other options there. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, and these are the information. This is the information that's going to be passed to the boys tomorrow, as well as they embark on that little bit of a journey. They are going to be talking with economics teachers and history teachers, all of the technology teachers, the music and art teachers as well. And they'll be able to engage with those teachers and understand a little bit about what their courses are about and what it means to study that area and the future pathways and careers. So again, we're encouraging the students to choose subjects that challenge them academically, that challenge their current skill set, make sure that they're doing something creative, and obviously that really engage them. And more often than not, the academic ones are the ones that interest them, or the ones that are developing a skill set is also those ones that interest and develop creativity. So if we can have a broad range in year 11, that means that none of the options at the other end in in year 12 and 13 are knocked out because they've got a wide variety of subject choices. So just a little bit of a summary. So level 1, you need 80 credits, and that includes literacy and numeracy. One interesting fact that not many people realize is that 1 credit represents approximately 10 hours of teaching, learning, and assessment. So you've got an internal that's coming up that's worth 4 credits. Chances are there's going to be 40 hours of work on it. That's in class and maybe a little bit of outside of class because it might be a project. But just have that in the back of your mind, 1 credit, 10 hours of teaching, learning, and assessment. That's studying for the assessment, and that's also completing the assessment. In level 2, we need 60 credits at level 2 above, and 20 credits can come from level 1, 20 credits can come from level 3 to top up your level 2. And likewise in level 3, it's 60 credits at level 3 or above, and 20 credits from level 2 or above as well. So the key thing about endorsements, again, we're trying to encourage these guys. Good to see you. No, it's all right. You're welcome. We're trying to encourage all of our students to really push the endorsement side of things. Achieved, yeah, that will get you the credits, but merit and excellence is really where we're encouraging all boys to push. So you need to get 50 credits at excellence level to be able to get endorsed with excellence. So 50 level 1 credits, they will have this level 1 certificate endorsed with excellence. If it's merit, same deal, endorsed with merit. Course endorsement is slightly different. It's where you've done really well in math and music, like the video talked about. You've got 14 credits of merit or excellence in 1. That means you get a course endorsement, mathematics endorsed with excellence, science endorsed with excellence, drama endorsed with excellence. And we have these, we have external assessments as well as internal assessments. Internal assessments happen within the classroom. External assessments are in an exam room at the end of the year. We're kind of flicking through to just getting you guys thinking about year 12 and 13 also, because later on there's scholarships that are available, university entrance scholarships to those students, and the types of thinking that goes with those. It's essentially level 3, level S. Scholarship is slightly higher than level 3. It's commensurate, it's at the level of a year 13 student. So 16, 17, 18-year-old student can do these university entrance scholarship assessments. And really it's pushing the higher order thinking, the abstract thinking and the generalization. And there's a little bit of money that comes with that. If you get all of your scholarships in 1 year, is even more as well. I've kind of got to this point where that's the introduction to NCEA, level 1 at least. We're also offering a program called the Deep Learning Program, which complements NCEA level 1. It sits alongside, and currently we've got 25 boys in year 11 who have opted into the program. There are no credits available in this particular program. It's all good learning stuff. Trying to teach these boys how to learn, how to think, and how to communicate is essentially 3 parts to this. So I'm just going to introduce that program a little bit here now. What we're hoping to do is really push towards the excellence endorsements in NCEA, potentially those students who are thinking about studying at university or thinking about doing those scholarship exams in years 12 and 13. Also, if you're interested in studying the International Baccalaureate program. So those are the students that we see as being the students who will benefit from this program. So what it's going to do is the students will still choose English, math, science, and 3 options. What we end up doing is, so that is the broad curriculum of NCEA. Inside the program that I'm going to introduce to you, we end up looking at what it is to be a globally competent person, someone who understands what a world issue is. They're starting to look at who are the key players in that particular world issue. One of the boys this year decided to research the island of plastic that's somewhere in the South Pacific. That was their world issue that they wanted to understand. So they started to understand the issue. How did the rubbish get there? Who are the key players that are either created or affected by it? Then they start understanding the issue in terms of what can we do about it, and then doing some action and starting to think about, well, how much plastic are we generating here at school? So it's principled action that goes alongside this. So that's global competence right there. Keeping mindful of what's happening out there in the real world, as opposed to small Dunedin as we are. We'll also learn a lot about how to learn and how to think, because what we believe is that if you can learn, then no matter what content we put in front of you, you're going to be able to cope with the content, essentially, because you've got all the strategies that are around you, the tips and tricks and techniques to be able to learn anything. We also want to develop a sense of creativity, activity, and service. So creativity is getting out there and doing something like music, drama, art, something creative. Activity is getting physically active, getting a lot of sweat on, playing sports, or helping out as a coach, which also sends us over to the service idea. As the course wears on, we start looking at thinking practice, philosophies of thinking, and how do you know what you know? How can you take something that you've experienced and then you start thinking about it? A little bit of person in the top of the room looking down upon on top of yourself, thinking about your thinking is what we'll do in the reflective practice. The academic writing strategies, as I was sharing about the student this year who decided to explore the island of plastic, well, he wrote a 2,000 word essay on it as a year 11 student, and that was a phenomenal job. The rest of the class also wrote around 2,000 word essays. It sounds really daunting, but actually it's not that bad. When you start understanding a world issue and putting it into words, you start explaining it and thinking about it and looking at it from multiple perspectives, and all of a sudden 500 words appear on the page. As you're doing some research, you're finding out who the key players are and so on. So yeah, we journey with them. I teach them how to write an academic piece of work. And as a year 11 student, that's a huge skill going forward. Public presentation skills was one of the funnest units that we did. We ended up getting Craig McGregor, who is a Toastmaster. He came second in the World Championships in the US in 2018. He's a man in Dunedin, and we invited him to do some coaching of the boys in terms of how do you hold an audience, how do you speak, how do you hold your nerve when you're freaking out in front of an audience. So the boys, again, they did a presentation, a 4-minute digital speech, because it was lockdown, or just before lockdown. And they ended up doing a digital speech online, speaking about issues facing teenage boys in today, alongside a variety of other subjects. The latest thing that we've done is looked at career path planning and helping the boys understand the courses that they're choosing, their own interests. We talk about their goals, their passions, and their values, as well as gifts. So if you start thinking about what you're innately good at, something that you're really passionate about, and then within the confines of a set of values, and if you're doing each of those things, then you're going to find fulfillment in whatever you're doing, because you're not going to do anything that's outside of a set of values. You're not necessarily going to wake up in the morning and not do something, and do something that you're not passionate about. And if you're working in a set of gifts, that is your natural innate talents that we can develop, obviously, but it's really helpful for the boys to start thinking about who they want to be, not necessarily what they want to do. And there's a variety of other skills that come out as a result. And that's really helping the boys become better students at the college for 11, 12, and 13. So how does the deep learning programs differ to the other one? Well, you've got this extra course called Stage at this stage. STAGE is an acronym that I'm going to explain as well, but the students are choosing Extension English, they're choosing mathematics, and they're choosing Extension Science. And they still have those three options of from the other side. So what it looks like, the little numbers that you see there are the number of hours that we have allocated to each subject. So you'll note that English and Science have 4 hours as opposed to the NCEA Level 1, which has 5. This was negotiated with the HOD of English and the HOD of Science, and they see that the deep learning course is actually complementary. They're not losing out by having this extra hour. So there's 2 hours allocated to the deep learning class. So we see each other face to face for 2 periods a week. This is a blended model of teaching and learning. So what that means is that there is face-to-face work that's going on. And that's when we get to interact with each other physically and with having me in the classroom, but also online, there'll be some aspects that they'll do. There'll be some projects that they'll work on online. There'll be some individual work. There'll be a little video here and there that they have to watch and then comment on and really reflect on it. So we encourage students to choose the Extension English. Look at potentially of choosing a language because we have compulsory languages in year 9 and 10, and we encourage you to just keep that language going. You could have a look at a humanities course, and a humanities course is like an economics or a history. The science course, mathematics, you could be either in the extension math program, which is already doing NCEA Level 1 as a year 11 student, which will then mean you'll go on to NCEA Level 2, or you may be a student who didn't choose the extension math program and doing NCEA Level 1. So really 3 subjects, English, math, science, and 3 options, as well as the deep learning course. So it's very project-based. As I was alluding to before, it's a blended approach, so that's face-to-face as well as online. We are getting a broad curriculum of learning. We are trying to get the boys working together in a team. In fact, right at the very beginning, we start looking at who we are as an individual, kind of profiling them of sorts in terms of a personality, a general personality type. And once they start realizing what type of person they are, whether they're a leader that leads from the front and just keeps on going, or they're a person who likes to read the details and understand the details before they get moving, or they're a person that really focuses on the other people, making sure that everyone's cared for and catered for. So once you understand who you are as a person, I throw you into a group. And all of a sudden, you've got all of these leaders that start trying to lead and no followers, and then there's problems. So we talk about how groups get formed, the 4 stages of group development: forming, storming, norming, and performing. How going through that phase of the storminess of working in a group. So again, collaborative, connected, and project orientated. It is challenging because we're really pushing the envelope. We're requiring these boys to actually stand up in front of their peers and speak on a topic they have no idea about because they've just pulled it out of the hat. That's confronting. However, the audience are the people that are going to care for them, because the audience are there to give feedback, kind feedback. Commend, recommend. I like the way you did this. I can see that the topic was really interesting to you. And I wonder if you could stop tugging on your ear all the time because it's really distracting. So all of those kind of things is that we help the boys. And again, focused on learning how to learn. So further to this project-based learning, we are looking at intercultural understanding and global engagement. Interdisciplinary thinking, that's taking a science and a math and an English and trying to find that common ground between them. And we do believe that it is preparing them really well for further academic study and life. So the 4 main projects that we do this year, One is global competencies. The second one is the public speaking one that I've alluded to. The stage profile is one that I'll talk about very soon, and also study skills. So the 1,000 to 2,000 word essay that they ended up writing, if you break it down into 4 parts, like investigate the issue, recognize the people that are involved, communicate by showing a deeper understanding of what's going on, and then take action, there's 250 to 500 words in each of those sections. So it's very, very achievable. And the boys had a great time researching their essay. Public speaking, obviously improv skills, speaking skills, problem solving when you're up there and what's going on when the audience is freaking out or going to sleep or whatever's going on, then you'll be able to actively work on the audience and make sure that you're understood. And active listening skills was a huge part of this as well. The stage profile is the heart of this program. Service, talent, action, graduate, and entrepreneurship. What I say to the boys, and this came from a movie called Robots, it's an animated cartoon where Rodney Copperbottom is a tinkerer. He's a robot that loves fixing things. And his dad said, see a need, fill a need. And so that's something that I've instilled in these boys as well, is to get your heads up, look out around you and see a need and fill a need. Now that could be service, getting out there and helping the local or the global community. That could be entrepreneurship, becomes your side hustle potentially in the long run. Financial planners would talk about get a salary, get a wage, but you better use your money and your talents to be able to get that side hustle, that's some other way of generating income. So your talent is like those gifts that I alluded to before, where you're a creative talent, your innate talent, and you're trying to develop that as well. The graduate side of things is the learning skills that we're teaching, and also encouraging the boys to make sure that they're physically active. The last thing was looking at study skills, because ultimately everyone's got to do an exam or 2 or 5 or 10. So how do you study? What are the key things that you need to be able to go from somebody who just stares at a book and hopes like crazy it comes into their brain versus someone who's actually thinking about it, what the content, mapping it out in their mind, having a visual picture of it, or listing out all of the things. So we teach the boys how to study, and hopefully they're going to be putting it into practice this next little while. So just in summary regarding the deep learning program, if you're aiming for excellence endorsement in NCEA, that's the 50+ credits. If you're thinking about studying at university and applying for some scholarships, then I think it starts now. It starts in year 11, where you're constantly pushing the merits and excellences. And so what I'm hoping is that if you're thinking deeply and you're thinking about what it is to learn and to be a man in today's society, then obviously thinking about where it starts for you. For those people who are contemplating going into the IB at year 12 and 13, and there are a few people that I've talked to lately, this just kind of flavors your option choices potentially for next year. I'm not saying that you have to do these, but it may help. Definitely studying a language is something that we've encouraged for a long while, having compulsory languages in year 9 and 10. And this is another opportunity to take your language even further. So Spanish, German, and Te Reo Māori. When you think about the second option, thinking about humanities, thinking about economics or history. And then lastly, you could consider about doing an arts. So again, that's quite broad. You've got sciences, you've got maths, you've got English, you've got a language, you've got a technology potentially, or a creative subject, and you've also got something coming from the humanities as well. So that's just something to think about. None of these are compulsory, these options. They're options for a reason. However, we want you to have the broadest possibility. Going back to the original list, thinking about something that is going to challenge your skills, challenge your thinking, that enables you to be creative, and something that you enjoy, is something to consider when you're choosing your subjects for next year. So when it comes to finalizing your subject choices, just the last minute thing for me is to remember to choose Extension Science, to choose Extension English, and in the comments section in the Google form, state deep learning program so that we're aware that you're wanting to do it. We will go around classes and talk to students if they've still got more questions. We'll also share a bit of information tomorrow morning about it as well. It's an opt-in program, and we're not going to put it compulsory. You don't have to do it. Any of the pathways that I alluded to, let me just go back a bit. Any of these pathways are accessible no matter what flavor of NCEA you do. So if you want to do a gateway and you do the NCEA, so the deep learning program, that's awesome, that's fine. If you want to do IB and do just a regular NCEA program without doing the deep learning program, that's fine. There's no issues. There's none of the pathways in years 12 and 13 that will be knocked out based on your decision of what pathway you take in year 11. All are available. So just get to the end. That's the end of my presentation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording, and if anyone in Zoom land has a question, I'm going to allow you to turn your mute off, and I've got an audience here, and I'm also going to listen to their questions as well. So thank you, and yeah, it's really, really great to see you all.